I'm I'm just a little lost with understanding how to automate Dropbox. Are you able to kind of show me or maybe kind of guide me or something that's going to end up giving me what I need to kind of know how to do?
Absolutely. Let's walk through it. So we have a full Dropbox automation. It's meant to be one click so that you can literally fully automate the editing process with the
Okay.
click button. So let's walk through what you need to do that and how it all works. All right. So we're on AutoHDR. We're actually in my company account. Little background on me. I'm a real estate photographer as well. That's why I started this software. And my company is Luxury Vision. We're on the East Coast in Massachusetts. But I disconnected our Dropbox. I'm going to show you from scratch what it looks like to get that set up.
Okay.
So you're going to go in your account and you're just going to go down to the Dropbox automation. Right here, this is the button. Click Connect with Dropbox, and it's going to pull up your account. Now, all you have to do is hit Allow, and that's it. You're automated. But let's talk about, like, what does that actually look like? How does that work? So you need specific folder structures, and I'll go to our Dropbox. You can see exactly what that looks like.
So that was essentially almost like a drag and drop system to where you just hit allow and I was already in.
That's it. Yeah. It pulls up Dropbox. When you hit allow, it gives us all the information that we need to be able to detect, download, and edit, and actually re-upload photos to your folders. So
that's awesome. Okay, cool.
All right. So here's our Dropbox. Here's what matters. It's that you have a folder called AutoHDR, case sensitive, spelled out like this, and it needs to be the root folder. When I say the root folder, it means that it's got to be in the first layer of your Dropbox. So when you're looking at all files, it can't be a subfolder or a subset of a different folder. That's got to be a root folder.
Okay.
Now, once you dive into there, I'm sure like everyone else, you're structuring it by your listings, by your date, a variety of different ways. We go year, and then we go quarter, and then we have our photographers. And then within our photographers, we have, the listings that they're shooting, just for the sake of organization and all that.
Sure.
Now, here's where the folder structure matters again. So everything was in AutoHDR. We can have all these intermediate layers, but what's important is that you call your raw photos folder O1-raw-photos. Case sensitive as well. So just like that. Now, here's what will happen. Anything that your photographers or you upload to any folder, O1 raw photos in that AutoHDR folder, we will detect, we will download, edit, and then we will re-upload it back to your Dropbox in this a folder called O4-final photos. Just like
awesome.
That. So anything that lands in here, we're looking for constantly. You can, if you have a reshoot, you can re-upload to that folder. We'll detect it again. The only time we won't detect it is if you're in Dropbox and you transfer files within Dropbox. And we're not going to edit things retrospectively. We're not going to edit the whole previous history. So it's new uploads.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that being said, would there be a way for you to send, just in case I fat finger something or anything like that happens, can you send the exact nameplate that it has to be for that folder so I can just copy and paste it essentially to make it easier?
That's a great question. Yeah. So like this right here.
Yeah, like it's something like that. So that way it's a copy and paste away this way. If I do fat finger or if I, make the W lowercase or something like that, it's easier to just copy paste and I'm good to go. I know I'm set.
That's a great idea. Right when we're done with this call, instead of having this, I'm going to add buttons so that you can just click copy and it's going to copy it to your clipboard. So anyone watching this, you can go here, you can hit copy, and then you can just paste it into your Dropbox. We'll make it easy. So anyways, we upload it to that final images folder. And so that's fully automated. One thing that I want to bring up, like we don't manually create our folders. Most people don't manually create your folders. Maybe if you're a one-person show, you have time to do that. But as you stack up, tons of shoots and photographers, that gets tedious. There's room for error.
Oh, it does. It very much does. I can speak that from experience. Yes, I get it.
Yeah. So I know like there's, we have a direct Spiro integration, which we'll talk about in a different video, but a lot of people use platforms that we're not integrated with yet, like Ario, Tonimo, and HD Photo Hub. But we know that those platforms automatically create folders for you. So here's a way that you can automate your editing regardless of if we're integrated with them or not. You can configure it so that your project management software is automatically creating folders named O1-raw-photos, spelled just like this. So then anytime that you get a new listing, automatically it's created with the same naming convention that AutoHDR is looking for. And then similarly, a lot of those platforms are automatically importing from the same folder name or folder structure. And so you can just set it to automatically import from anything that's called O4-final-photos, which again, we will put a copy paste right here for.
Okay.
Is that making sense so far?
No, yeah, I'm following entirely. That seems honestly very, very streamlined. So I love it so far.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, just to reiterate, the basics of it would be you upload to the O1 raw photos folder, you get them back in the O4 final photos folder. And then if you want to take the automation to the fully automated level, you just set up your delivery platform so that it looks for those two. So it automatically creates the raw photos folder and then automatically pulls from the final photos folder.
Awesome. I like it. I like it.
A lot of the time, like we have these automations, that's great, that's set up. But like, what if your client is asking for green lawn replacement? What if they need items removed, right? The car was in the driveway, it was locked, or there was dishes in the sink that your photographer wasn't going to move, or a diaper on the ground or something. Whatever you need to remove, right? There's always that QC process. And so, you know, your final photos landed in Dropbox, but what about that QC process? So we understand that that's still a step. Yeah, so how we've designed it is so that regardless of if you use Dropbox automation or you have one of the platform integrations, everything that you process through Dropbox with us still lands in AutoHDR. So these are Dropbox projects, but they still land in AutoHDR, right? So if I want to go in and I need to remove, what is this? If I need to remove this tissue box right here, I can go ahead and use our auto remove tool, get rid of it, and then you would download that photo and you'd replace it in your listing delivery platform. Long-term, our vision is that you can go in, make these changes that you need, hit a one button sync automation, and it would just replace those in your listing page for your delivery software, or if you're just on Dropbox, direct in Dropbox. But right now, you could go ahead, just download that photo and swap it out. Same thing. Awesome. Yeah, so same thing would go for like if you need a Twilight edit, you could go ahead, go into AutoHDR, do the Twilight edit, really whatever you need. If it needs a little brightness, contrast, that's there. You download and swap it out. But everything else is automated.
Awesome. All right. So what about the naming convention?
Yeah, so we basically have it so that whatever is one folder up from your raw photos folder, we'll just pull in that name and it'll show up as that name in AutoHDR. And so you'll see the actual property address.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, how does it know when we're done uploading?
That's a good question. So basically, if you're uploading to your raw photos folder in your Dropbox, we will detect the second that a new photo that we've never registered before hits that folder. Now what we're going to do is every 30 seconds, we're going to check and we're going to see, are they still uploading photos? Is the number in that folder growing? And then once we see that for 30 seconds, we've seen no new uploads, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull in those photos, assume it's a shoot, start editing them. Now, if for whatever reason you go reshoot a missed room, that's totally fine. We'll detect those new ones too, and we will edit and upload them to that same shoot and that same final photos folder.
Nice. So it stays all together, even with it being separated. Okay, so no more hassle of I like that. That's very helpful. So how do I know if the progression is kind of done? Kind of like a tracker of sorts, kind of seeing like from start to finish. Am I able to see that entire process?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So first obviously you guys want to know like, oh, has our shoot been received, right? Because Dropbox isn't going to tell you. You need some way of knowing we're actually hooked up to AutoHDR. They got our files. They're working on it. And so how you can tell is that every single project that we edit through Dropbox also lands in AutoHDR. So if we received files from you in this listings column, you're going to see that Dropbox folder show up. So you can know if we received the files because you should see that Dropbox folder show up as a listing. Now, we will show a status bar, right? So when we're still downloading those files, you'll see that it's downloading, and then you'll be able to monitor each step of the progression. If for whatever reason it fails, you can go in and see that it failed in the status bar, and then you'll also see which step it's at, you know, if you're trying to get an understanding of timing. Generally, everything takes under 30 minutes, but you can still see where is it at in the pipeline. And then even if you upload via Dropbox, when that shoot is done, we are still going to send you an email to your team's emails and say, hey, this shoot is done for this address.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I was just kind of curious about that whole process because, you know, if I want to hop on and see kind of where it's at, or see, like you said, if there's something failed, I'd want to see it as soon as possible versus waiting till later on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So just out of curiosity, how does the whole credit side of things work as far as the credit deduction?
Yeah. So with AutoHDR, you only pay for what you download when you're using the platform. With Dropbox, we upload, edit, and re-upload every photo that you gave us. And so we deduct 1 credit for every final edited photo. Okay. Now, when you're using your Dropbox and you're not downloading directly, you might be wondering like, okay, how many credits are we using? In the account page where you see your plan, you'll see, okay, how many credits do we have? How many were deducted? And then you can monitor it that way.
Perfect.
All right, James. So just a quick recap. All you got to do is you go to your account page, you hit the one-click integration, and everything that you upload to the raw photos folder will get downloaded by us, edited, and dropped in your final images folder. Twilight's item removals, you'll go into the gallery and have you or your virtual assistant do, and then you would download those and put them into your final listing page. And that's essentially everything that you need to get started fully automating your workflow if you're going the Dropbox route.
That's awesome. And that's honestly extremely simplistic, just having it broken down like that to where it's bullet pointed. That's seriously, that was awesome. Thanks, Matt.